The man placed a jar of black powder inside the mountain lion's den. He retreated several dozen meters and lit the fuse. After the shot hit its mark, a destructive force erupted. This is how he drives away predators that invade the farm when meat is scarce. He's back in the mountains hunting wild rabbits. His daily life is always dramatic and busy in the Ruby Valley, Montana. A record-breaking blizzard has hit this land, forcing herbivores to leave. So predators have started targeting livestock. And that's when Richie's mission begins. Early morning, he received a call from a rancher. Their herd of cattle had been spooked by predators. It could be gray wolves or mountain lions. To start the truck, Richie used fire to warm up the engine. Once the engine warmed up, he successfully started it. The hunting dogs were fired up after a year of waiting. It's time to strike fear into the mountain lions. Reaching the edge of the ranch, Richie brings the truck to a stop. Animal tracks appear on the ground. His experience tells him this is a grizzly bear. Usually by this time of year, they have already hibernated. Something unknown has driven it out of its den. Realizing his hunting dogs were no match for the grizzly, Richie grabbed his rifle and decided to go up the mountain alone. He continuously tracked the animal's footprints, discovering the grizzly was targeting the cattle herd. Continuing to follow the tracks, he finally spotted it in the woods. This is an animal that is locally endangered and is on the conservation list. Richie could only fire into the air to scare it away. The deafening gunshot terrified the bear. Seeing it flee for its life, it certainly won't dare to return anytime soon. After that, Richie returned to his truck. It was getting dark. He prepared to spend the night in the truck. It's been renovated. It gives him the comfort of being at home. The Valley, Ruby, is known as the home of cattle. With 50,000 head of cattle, this is the local economic backbone. But at the same time, it also attracts fearsome predators. Richie is a hunting expert. He uses hounds to drive mountain lions down the mountain. The youngest member of the dog team is not. He's only about 7 or 8 months old. He carries the unparalleled bloodline of previous generations of hounds. Today, Richie will be doing some special training. With him, the main content is locating and tracking. Richie takes out a rabbit hide. He pours some water on it to soften it. Next, he pours bobcat urine on it. Then he drags the hide to simulate the bobcat's path. Of the bobcat, he goes under a large tree. He puts the hide in a cage. Then he hangs the cage on the tree. Whether it's a mountain lion or a bobcat, when cornered, they'll all climb trees. So, the hounds must learn to look up and observe. Back at the car, Richie released the 3 hounds. The moment they hit the ground, they darted towards the large tree. But suddenly, they changed direction, rushing towards the canyon. Richie felt a bit strange, but from the barking, he guessed they had encountered a predator. Waiting for Richie to catch up, he only saw a lynx running for its life. When a lynx meets a hound, it's like fire to straw. There's bound to be a fight, with Richie watching, but this lynx was clearly a hothead. It lunged and attacked the hound's head. Seeing its comrade in trouble, another dog immediately rushed over. Thanks to this support, the first dog was able to escape. Amidst the lynx's fury, the camera's view became chaotic. Taking advantage of the human falling to the ground, it repelled 2 hounds and broke through the encirclement. Having suffered such heavy losses, how could the hounds let it go? The 2 sides continued their chase. But in the end, a lone tiger cannot defeat a pack of wolves. It was cornered and forced to climb a tree. Richie checked the dog's wound. Fortunately, it was nothing serious. Today's goal was just training so the lynx, this is still lucky. Then he took the dogs and left. A few days later, he held a bow in one hand and a hunting horn in the other. Richie was preparing for the decisive blow. Yesterday, the hunting dogs discovered a dangerous enemy. A mountain lion had infiltrated the farm, posing a serious threat to ranchers. They will defend their territory extremely aggressively. Today, Richie will destroy this den to drive the mountain lions deeper into the mountains. So, he brought a bucket of gasoline and a jar of detonators. After preparing everything, he officially set off. After some travel, he arrived at the location. This rocky area is the mountain lion's lair. Richie observed for a while, making sure the mountain lion wasn't home. Otherwise, a close encounter would certainly be very troublesome. He transferred the explosives from the horn to a jar, then carried some tools and entered the lair. Black powder would create tremendous destructive power. The gasoline and sawdust in the barrel will be responsible for igniting it. To ensure safety, Richie chose to shoot an arrow to detonate it. He took out a piece of red cloth, tore it into small pieces, and taped it to the arrowhead. He also applied some Vaseline grease. And then, he used sawdust to start the fire, then drew his bow and nocked an arrow. He lit the red cloth. After a preliminary aim, he decisively released the arrow. The arrow hit the barrel and bounced off. Richie wasn't sure if it hit the target, but he didn't dare to go closer to check. After a long wait, there was still no reaction. Richie couldn't help but go forward to check. When he got closer, he saw the oil drum smoking. He was scared and didn't dare to move. He waited until the fire was completely out. Then he stepped forward to rearrange the explosives. He pulled the fuse a little tighter, then poured in a little more gasoline. After that, he ran tens of meters away to perform the second test. Richie's archery skills are excellent. The arrow still hit its mark cleanly. A few seconds later, a loud explosion echoed throughout the wilderness. A mushroom cloud appeared right in the middle of the mountain. The cave was completely destroyed. Surely that mountain lion would understand Richie's intentions. Some time passed. Richie sprinkled some cereal into the bushes. He placed a snare trap right at the entrance, then tied a rope to the tree trunk. This is a hunting method that has been passed down for thousands of years. As the weather warmed, all the snow on the ground melted. He could no longer track the mountain lion. Richie, planning to catch some wild rabbits to improve the meal. To increase the success rate, he also set up another type of trap. Using a pit trap is one of the most primitive methods for catching small animals. Since rabbits are great at jumping, the pit needs to be at least a meter deep and must be perfectly camouflaged. Then, Richie gathered willow branches to weave a frame. He covered it with a layer of branches and finally sprinkled some dust on top. To lure the rabbits towards the trap, he arranged wood into a funnel shape. When the rabbits passed, it will advance along the predetermined path. Once it steps on it, an abyss awaits. Finally, he sprinkled some grains on the trap to lure the prey. With this double assurance, the rabbit is sure to be caught. Of course, waiting for the rabbit to come on its own is not Richie's style. He took his shotgun and actively went out. There's no more meat left in the house. Whether you get to eat meat or just have porridge depends on your luck. Searching for wild rabbits in the bushes. It didn't take him long to spot his target. A white rabbit was hiding in the bushes. While he was quietly approaching, the next second, the opponent had vanished. He quickly stepped forward. He saw a cave here. He guessed it was a rabbit's den. So he took out some fabric, covered the trees with it, and added a few more logs. Then he placed cotton soaked in Vaseline on the log and lit it on fire. Next, he picked some cypress branches to create thick smoke. As the smoke grew thicker, a wild rabbit ran out. Richie gave chase the moment he spotted it. He fired without hesitation. As expected, it was a direct hit. Carrying the rabbit in his hand, he headed toward the trap area. Upon arriving, he saw that the trap had been triggered. Another rabbit had fallen into the pit. Out of human kindness, Richie fired another shot to put it out of its misery. Then he pulled the rabbit out. Having harvested 2 rabbits in one day, it was enough for him to cook a decent dinner. Time flew by. In a few more weeks, spring would arrive. Then a whole new batch of calves will be born. This is the most important time of year for ranchers. It's also the most dangerous. The arrival of calves will attract formidable predators. Richie accepts an invitation from a rancher to help find 12 missing cows. First, he checks the fence again. He repairs the damaged sections. Perhaps the appearance of a predator frightened the herd, causing them to bolt while searching for tracks in the mud. With his years of tracking skills, he has made a new discovery. Based on the footprints, it can be inferred that this is a mountain lion. The cattle are in a precarious situation right now. Night is when mountain lions dominate. He has to find the herd before dark. The guard dog leads the group at a crucial moment. It can also work as a hunting dog. It leads Richie continuously through the bushes. After crossing a river to the other side, he heard some sounds. It seemed like something was nearby. So, Richie spurred his horse to gallop over the hill. He saw more than 10 cows. It looked like they had been spooked by something and kept running away. Richie immediately gave chase. At this point, the herd was scattering even more chaotically. This place was about 10 miles from the ranch. Richie needs to round them up and lure them back. This is when the guard dog shows its true strength. It works with Richie, constantly herding them, step by step, guiding the herd in the correct direction. And so, under the strong intimidation of one person and one dog, the herd obediently returned home. After a while, the farm appeared in sight. Seeing the herd return, the rancher immediately opened the large gate. The calves scrambled and rushed inside. Perhaps they thought the outside world was too scary. Seeing that Richie had brought the herd back, not a single one missing, the rancher was extremely pleased. He had prepared over 100 kilograms of high-quality beef as a reward. Now Richie, finally free from food worries, bids farewell to his host to enjoy his steak. In southeastern Alaska, there's an archipelago made up of over 1,000 islands, called the Alexander Archipelago. Brand grew up here from a young age. At 16, his whole family moved to the city, and, before he knew it, 7 or 8 years of wandering had passed. At the age of 33, listening to his heart, he returned to this land once again. However, everything had to start from scratch. He bought several acres of land in Alaska Bay. Being a carpenter, he planned to build a sturdy shelter. He is currently living in a makeshift tent. He needs to finish quickly before the weather gets worse. The wood needed for construction has been prepared. A sturdy log is still missing to serve as the foundation. There might be such material on an island not far from here. He set off in a small boat. He needs to cross the 3-mile-wide strait. The waves are unusually rough today, making this journey extremely dangerous. The boat speeds ahead. Brand is fighting against the tide. Before long, he reaches his destination. As soon as he steps ashore, he spots a piece of driftwood. After checking, its diameter unfortunately doesn't meet the requirements, but since it's very straight, it might be suitable for a meat rack. Brand, carry it onto the boat first. There are only 2 hours left until dark. He needs to speed up his work. While walking, he discovered a log that met the standards, right before his eyes. However, he had to cut off all the branches. Each log weighed over 100 kilograms. If placed directly on the boat, it would sink. He used an underwater towing method to bring them home. The return trip took about an hour, provided no incidents occurred. However, things often don't go as planned. Accompanied by a strange noise, the boat suddenly stopped. Upon inspection, they found the rope was tangled in the propeller. The boat kept swaying due to the current. Brand tried to untangle the rope. It took many difficult attempts before he finally managed to fix it. It will be extremely dangerous when it gets dark. You need to go back immediately. Darkness is slowly falling. The distance to the shore is only a short way. Carefully avoid the rocks. Finally, you reach the shore safely. Tomorrow you can start building the log cabin. The next day, he poured some gasoline on the pile of branches. He used a lighter to ignite it. The flame instantly flared up. Brand lit a total of 6 bonfires. The reason he did this was to prepare for building a house. To save enough money to buy this land, he worked 2 jobs simultaneously to save up. After he had enough money, he resolutely returned to his birthplace. I've been living in this makeshift tent for a month now. Now that everything is ready, I'm officially starting the work. First, I'll sketch the house's shape in my notebook. Then, I'll light fires at the 6 main foundation points of the house. While the fires are burning, I'll process the logs. These logs have been soaked in seawater, so they're quite light. Brand uses a saw to cut them into equal sections. When the fire goes out, the ground underneath also becomes softer, but it will freeze again in 10 minutes. Brand inserts the wooden stakes into the ground one by one. He uses a string to connect the stakes to measure the height, ensuring each wooden pole is on the same plane. Then, he places the foundation beams on top and nails them down tightly. The house can only be secured if the foundation is strong. Only then will the house be durable. After a busy period, the foundation frame is complete. Everything is still going smoothly according to plan. After the floor is done, it's time for the walls. He nails diagonally into the wood to increase its stability. After finishing the work, he puts all his strength into erecting the wall frame to keep the frame steady. He uses planks to secure the sides in a triangular structure. Using the same principle, Brand continues to build the second wooden wall. The wooden panels are already extremely heavy, and he has to handle them all by himself. He must be so exhausted. Panting, I could finally finish. It's getting late, so let's stop here for today. I cooked some stew for dinner. Although this life is tough, it helps me find the meaning of life. A few days later, the snow began to fall. Brand went out with his hunting rifle to look for prey. His goal was to hunt a deer. For the past few days, he has relied entirely on fishing to survive. If he could catch a large animal, he wouldn't have to worry about food anymore. As it turns out, after wandering around for 6 hours, he still hasn't caught anything. At the same time, a bigger problem is looming. The islands. This island is known for its changing weather. Unpredictable winds, blowing from the north, make the sea rough. A blizzard is about to sweep through here. Brand is forced to stop his hunting plans. This island is about 10 miles from his camp. In this harsh weather, he doesn't dare risk going back, and there's only 1 hour left until sunset. After careful consideration, Brand decided to sleep here tonight. He took some essential supplies and went deeper into the forest, looking for a safe shelter. Very quickly, he chose a large tree with dense foliage that could provide shelter from rain and wind. There's also enough space below for living. Brent cut some branches to build a windbreak hut around the tree trunk. Next, he returned to the shore to catch some fish for dinner. The weather was very cold, but his heart was burning with determination. If he couldn't catch any fish, he would have to go hungry. He silently prayed in his heart. Sure enough, a fish bit Brand smoothly reeled in the line. With his superior skill, he successfully pulled it ashore. It was a strange but beautiful-looking fish. Unfortunately, it was a bit small. He had originally planned to catch a few more for a grilled fish meal, but night quickly fell, making it even colder. Brand also finished his work. He caught a total of 2 fish. Next, he had to face the challenge of survival. Because it rains a lot all year round, the tree trunks are very wet. He had to peel the bark to get the dry core for kindling. Even so, fire. Brand also had to try many times before he could light a fire. Now he can cook meat and fish. He removes the internal organs and puts the fish into a frying pan. After a while, a delicious meal is ready. He enjoys the delicious food while planning his upcoming work. After a week, the house has gradually taken shape. Today, he begins constructing the roof. The main beam is the key to the roof. It's over 6 meters long and weighs almost 100 kilograms. It needs to be installed at a height of nearly 4 meters above the ground. So he built a temporary scaffold right at the installation spot. With the beam on his shoulder, he moved forward step by step, preparing to fit it into the joint. Because the material is too heavy, making Brand's steps very wobbly. If he accidentally slips and falls, it could be life-threatening. Luckily, this time he was careful enough to successfully place the crossbar into the correct wooden groove. Next is the other end. It seems a bit easier than before. Finally, nail 2 more nails to secure it, and it's done. The next step is to arrange the rafters along the beams. They lean against each other, forming a sturdy roof frame. The weather here is unpredictable. Before all the rafters are installed, Brand can't stop working. Soon, the snow starts to fall and gets heavier. The snow made the planks slippery. He had to be extremely careful. After several hours of fighting, only the last beam remained. This was also the most difficult beam to install. He had to sit on the wooden frame, trembling, to put it in place. In an awkward position, he could only use his non-dominant hand after connecting it to the wall. He shone the light on the other end to fix it. He stood on the ladder to hammer in the last iron nails. The last ones